Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show where we love Seattle pro sports. I'm your host, Mikey, and today I'm bringing you another Seattle Seahawks 7-round mock draft. Before we get into it, today the Seahawks signed veteran guard Laken Tomlinson to a 1-year deal. That means we have potentially a starting guard right away, right? That is somebody that can be the starting left guard. So maybe there's somebody you really like in this draft, but now that can affect the way we look at this draft. Maybe we don't really need to target a guard or somebody that can move to guard high in this draft. Maybe we decide we can trade back even more in this draft and again get more value in that second, third, fourth round range. Because again, sometimes when I'm playing out these scenarios and we pick somebody at 16 and then we don't pick again till 81, I say, hey, I got one, sometimes two players that I think can make a big impact on the team right away this year. But when we trade back and we get more picks in that second, third, fourth round range, sometimes we end up with 3, 4, 5 players that you look at and say, oh, those players will be impactful on the team this year, and that's doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of players that are making an impact versus just taking one of them at 16. So that's the mindset going into this, but we'll see. You know what we're doing here. Not a lot of explanation needed, right? You've watched me do this. Will be number 30 now, so we're finding out what the Seahawks could do and if we would like it or not. So I am wanting to trade back, though. That is kind of the mindset that I have now. And just so you know who's available: Fuaga, Mitchell, Fatanu, Mims, Thomas, Newton, Murphy, Robinson, Wiggins, DeJean, Barton, Powers, Johnson, Penix. Lots of good players still available. We do got some trade offers on the table, and we're going to take one of them with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are sending them pick 16 and 102 for their pick 20 and 51. So again, we're trading back, but we're taking that fourth round pick and getting it up into the second round. So getting a potentially a more impactful player there. And then here we are at pick 20. Mims, Newton, Murphy, Robinson, Wiggins, DeJean, Barton, Powers, Johnson. They're all still available. Let's see what the trade offers are, because there are some coming through again. Let's see. Which of these do I want to take? I do want to take one. And I think so this is what I'm going to take this one with Minnesota. Because we're sending them 20 and 179 for their 23, 108 and their 2025 third round pick. Now, I like this one because, again, we're just moving back 3 spots, but then we're taking, late 6th round pick or a 6th round pick, and then, putting it up there into a 4th round pick. And again, we still might be able to find somebody at pick 108 that could, maybe not be making a big impact, but would be at least impactful on the team, potentially, depending on what position we get at that spot. So let's make this trade with Minnesota here. Let's see. Okay. We might go one more. There's Newton, Murphy, Robinson, Wiggins, Powers, Johnson, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Xavier Worthy, Guyton. Again, still a few players available at the top here, but we can keep moving up here with some other picks. We could send Tampa Bay 23 and 81, and they'll give us 26 and 57. So again, taking that third round pick and now and moving that up into the second round again. So getting potentially maybe more, somebody that we want even more without having to worry about missing out on in that second round. So we'll take that one. And it looks like that is where we are stopping, because I don't want these other trade offers. And now look, we have pick 26, 51, 57, 108. Not too bad, if you ask me. And we have a few different ways we can go with this on the board. Newton, Wiggins, McKinstry, Penix, Guyton, Mitchell, Worthy, Nix, Coleman. Again, this draft is pretty deep through the first, handful of rounds. But if we're at 26 and Johnny Newton is still here, yeah, he could be making a pretty big impact on your defensive line. And again, we can make that kind of decision now because we did go out and get a starting guard that will start for you this year. So let's take one of these, higher end athletes at, a very premium position, and see if we can develop them. And then maybe he's taking over for Jaron Reed again, for Draymond Jones, whoever he takes over for. You're getting him in here in the first round, getting him on that 5-year contract. Okay, then our next pick is at 51. And let's see here who we got available. Christian Haynes is available. Again, we just got Lakeland Tomlinson, so do we feel like we need that as early as we did now? Ruka Roro is here, but we just got Newton, so maybe not. Adisa Isaac, he is an edge player that I like. But we got defensive line. Do we want to take that right now? We have Leonard Taylor. Michael Hall is still here, but again, we just got Johnny Newton, Braylon Trice, Chris Jenkins, Malachi Corley, the receiver out of Kentucky, is here. We know that the Seahawks have had a top 30 visit with Corley, so potentially maybe they are actually interested in Corley, which would be it'd be very interesting to add Corley to your team and see how Ryan Grubb would use him, and just the shiftiness that he has, and the ability to here, think of K9, right? But now he would have that version at wide receiver. That the guy that has that breakaway type of speed and ability at any time. So that could be an option for you. Peyton Wilson still here, Cedric Gray, Braden Fisk, Dorless, Junior Colson. Okay, so here we are at pick 51. What do we want to do here? Let's go. Again, we don't want to miss out on a player we really like and we think fits. And again, this is their big board, but the Seahawks might have their own. We know they have their own personal board with the way they look at players, but and it's not going to follow this exactly. And again, to me, doesn't it just make sense, right? I mean, even with players like who is still available, Peyton Wilson and Cedric Gray available, doesn't it make sense that Junior Colson would be Mike McDonald's guy? Again, started him as a true freshman, has been in the system for years, knows it. It's a complicated system to be calling and figuring out, and knowing where you have to be. And he's already been doing it for years. So I value that highly. We're taking him at 51, and then our next pick comes at 57. Okay, and then at 57 here again. Maybe not the biggest need now, but because we have the choice to be a little bit more playful with what we want to do, because they went out and signed, a starting guard. Let's get that wide receiver I was just talking about here at pick 57. We will take Malachi Corley, the receiver out of Western Kentucky. This is not a player that we've taken before in any of these previous ones, but because we've been making these trades, because of the signing of Laken Tomlinson, I feel like, and John Schneider and the Seahawks themselves probably feel like they can be a little bit more flexible with what they're doing in this year's draft now, because of the moves that they've made so far. Now here we are at pick 108. Okay, so let's see here. We got Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving. We got some running backs on the table. James Williams out of Miami. They have him listed here as a linebacker. Okay, if you read the profile, they got it right. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets put at linebacker, because you're talking about a big dude, okay, who's been playing safety in college. Again, I believe this is another player that we have not taken in any of these mocks, but you should look him up and watch his highlights. And yeah, I think you'll be excited by what you see out of like this 6'5", 215-pound safety. Doesn't that remind you of somebody like the size of, a Cam Chancellor? Not saying this guy would be as good as Cam Chancellor, exactly, but I mean, in 2023, had 2 forced fumbles, had an interception. For a guy that size, the ability to move the way he does, and Mike McDonald liking players that are flexible. He is a guy that sometimes maybe you have him lined up at linebacker, sometimes you have him lined up at safety, and again, that's confusing the other team. You hear how Ravens opponents talked about going against Ravens defense this last couple of years with McDonald. What's the biggest problem? Is they're confused. They have no idea what's going on. They cannot figure out who's blitzing, who's not blitzing, who's dropping in zone. They can't figure any of that out. And with Williams, you wouldn't be able to figure it out, because again, he's big. He could be a linebacker, but he's been good enough to play. He's been good enough in the backfield to be playing safety. Good enough hands to get a handful of interceptions throughout his college career. So let's take him here. It says linebacker here, but we're looking at him as like safety linebacker. He's our weapon that we can move around. And then our next pick here is going to be at 118. Okay, so now we're kind of looking around, and we got to start looking at, feeling like what are some like needs now, right? I mean, we don't really have to do it at this point in the draft, but if there's somebody who fits a need, then we might want to, take it. We did just get Lakin Tomlinson, as I said, but now here we go. Let's get Zach Zinter here. Even though he's coming off of that major injury that happened, at the end of the season, you got Lakin Tomlinson. So now you're saying Zach Zinter definitely is going to come in and be able to, prove to see if he's healthy enough to go right away, or if he's going to start out as a backup, and then you develop him and he becomes your starter next year. So you could take him here at 118. Okay. Now our next pick doesn't come till 192. And let's see who's going to be available for us at 192 here. Tanner McLaughlin at this point is somebody I really like. Tupola Fatui is somebody, is an edge player that I like out of Washington. Joe Milton. John Schneider was just on the radio the other day saying that even though they traded for what's his name? Oh gosh, you know who I mean, the quarterback Sam Howell. Even though they traded for Sam Howell, that they are not, doesn't mean that they won't draft a quarterback still at some point this year. Potentially in this range, Milton would be a bad choice. But I think the way I want to go with it here is, let me double check, make sure we got a receiver, we got a linebacker, we got a safety / linebacker, offensive line, we got the defensive tackle. Yeah, you really do. At this point, you got to fill out that. You got to fill out that tight end room. In my eyes, it's something that you should do. And since Tanner McLaughlin is here, then I'm going to take Tanner McLaughlin. Okay, so let's take the tight end here at 192, and then our next pick is coming at 235, and we'll find out who's available here in just a moment. Satoa Lomia out of Utah, the guard. Kamani Vidal, the running back, is available here. Let's see here. Jeremy Chroma. Let's see who else do I like around here. Darius Moasau. Gabriel Murphy. Let's go actual. Let's see. Okay, well, again, if they can take him here and we can fill out that running back room, let's do that, and you get your guy, Kamani Vidal here. All right, and then let's take a look at the recap and see what we did in the entirety of this draft. What we ended up with here is Johnny Newton in the first round. In the second round, we get Junior Colson and Malachi Corley. Then again, we get that safety linebacker hybrid player, James Williams. I don't want to sell him short of playing safety, because that's what he played in college. I mean, in college, let me take a look real quick. Yeah, 4 interceptions, forcing fumbles, the last couple of years, getting fumble recoveries. I really could see Mike Macdonald developing and molding this guy into something special at the NFL level. And it would be fun to see a guy that size and that athletic ability, to be able to do that in a Mike Macdonald system. Okay, now at 118, we got Zach Zinter to fill out the rest of that offensive line room, and be the the heir apparent to take over one of those guard spots eventually. If not this year, then next year. Tanner McLaughlin, again, your receiving tight end that's developing in your system, and Kamani Vidal to fill out the rest of your running back room, and potentially be returning kicks, could be potentially competing with Kenny McIntosh there for that third down back spot type of situation. And that was our draft. We ended up with the same amount of picks that we we got a 2025 third round in these trades, but we ended up with just 7 picks in total, just like we have right now. But because of the moving back in the first round, we were able to take some of those picks and move our other picks up into the second round, and then just add one in there as well. So we were, again, to me, I like this idea of trading back, because again, we didn't just end up with somebody at 16, and then if we waited till 81, we're not sure how impactful that player is going to. Again, this draft, I think there's still going to be players in that range that would be good, but we don't know how impactful that player is going to be. This kind of ensured that we got, in this mock anyways, we got Johnny Newton still. And then, we got some players that could be impactful right away this year, like Junior Colson, Malachi Corley, so now you got a handful of guys. And then, because of what, they did with the linebacker, the guard position, we didn't have to take a guard right away, so we were kind of able to get some other positions as well before having to worry about it, and then getting somebody who's going to be really good, or who we think is going to be really good down the line, but again has been falling during this draft process because of the broken leg injury at the end of this last season. So there you go. There is your outcome for this mock number 30. Let me know what you grade this one, A, B, C, D, F. And yeah, thanks for checking these videos out. We just hit 200 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. If you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe right now. Let's see how fast we can get this to 250, okay? Hit subscribe right now. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. Leave those comments. If you're listening on a podcast version, same thing. Make sure you, hit follow, hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and a written review, because that helps the show grow. And thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with the sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.